Hi, Jeff.
Hello, Maria.
Hi. Thank you so much for coming to Expecting Miracles talk show. And I'm so happy to have you as a host. Expecting Miracles, it's a video podcast where I interview purpose-driven leaders. So I'm happy to have you here. And I would love to start with an introduction. Can you please introduce yourself?
Sure. So my name is Jeff Ernst. I am the founder and CEO of a company called SlapFive, which provides a customer marketing and advocacy software platform. And it actually came out of my years and years of work, always running customer programs of all sorts at many different software companies, small to large, including startups, as well as a stint in there that I did where I was a Forrester research analyst for many years, covering customer marketing and customer engagement for B2B CMOs. So you can say that I'm customer obsessed at the core and customer driven, customer led, and so it's no surprise now that I work with a lot of people helping them become more customer led.
Absolutely. I can only agree with that. Jeff, you are absolutely customer-led, customer-obsessed, and you also are at the beginning of the creation of an amazing community, which actually I'm part of. My team is part of. We love being part of that community, and the community is called Customer X Community. And I know it has a really strong mission. Can you let us know a little bit about the mission?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So we started the Customer X community because we realized that there was no place for customer marketers and customer advocacy, customer engagement professionals to gather. And interestingly, the way it came up was we were doing, we would be doing our weekly check-ins with our clients, and Dana, my VP of customer experience, would be leading several of these. And she would find that our clients she said, it feels like a therapy session because they're just unloading on me about all their frustrations and things that are going on and how hard it is to do their job in their company, all the resistance they get. And they're not alone, but they're alone, right? They need somebody to commiserate with. And so we started first with this group therapy for customer marketers, and especially for the one-person customer marketing team. And that really took off and people loved it. And we realized we need to turn this into a community. And so recognizing why people were craving this community so much, it was because they needed to get more recognition, respect, and resources in their work. And so our mission is to elevate the customer marketing and customer advocacy profession by empowering and inspiring and enabling these members to connect their work to the strategic growth initiatives that their C-level executives care about, and in effect, by doing that, get themselves on a career path to be a C-level executive if that's what they aspire to. So that's really the mission of the community, and we do that through a variety of mechanisms, through our annual conference, Customer XCon. We do it through the group therapy webinars. We do it through expert exchanges. We do it through an online community with discussion forums that people can come to.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. And I love to be part of this community. And I think the mission is so powerful. So thank you for enabling us to connect. How many people are there right now?
There are about almost 4,000 people in the community total. There are probably 800 or so that are actively contributing. The rest maybe sort of in the background watching, but yeah, so it's a decent sized community, even though it's there's not as many people in this role as there are in other marketing roles or customer success roles.
Yes.
So
it's kind of
it
a niche,
is
right? Like a niche, yeah.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. And I know that part of this community, there is also one activity which is called Customer Marketers Doing Good. Is there one activity which came out of from this group and from the discussions and connections which you like the most, or has the biggest potential to fly and connect?
Yeah. And as you know from from the work you and I have done, where we brought a philanthropic element
Yeah,
to our conference, which I think we'll probably talk about later.
we're going to talk
But
about that later.
coming out of that last year, there was a lot of interest among our conference attendees in how can we do more of this throughout the year? How can we be doing more good? Because you get a great feeling when you do something good, right? Or even when you experience other people doing something great, it gets the oxytocin in the brain released, which it like gives you a high. And so what we did is we pulled together a group of these customer marketers who were interested in figuring out how can we be doing good back in December, I think it was. And we talked about several options, a couple being maybe specific organizations that we could group our efforts together to support. But what really came to the forefront, and which hit closer to home, I think, to a lot of the people is that everybody felt like we need to be mentoring the younger or newer people to our profession, because it so much aligns with our goal of elevating the profession. So they love the idea of having the more experienced senior people, senior practitioners, senior leaders in our community have opportunities to mentor people from other companies, but who are just more earlier in their customer marketing career. And so that's what we're putting together now. We want to have it up and running before our conference in October. And so we're pulling together the details of that now, but just providing a mentorship program to where we'll be matching up experienced people who want to help others with those younger people who may not have a mentor in their own company, but could really aspire to have somebody to help guide them and make them feel not as alone in their own companies.
Yeah, and I honestly think this is a win-win, because we experience customer marketers, we love to give back. And there is so much knowledge. Maybe we don't even know that there is so much, but throughout the experiences and fails and triumphs, we have learned so much. So a lot of us, I feel like we would love to give back. And then I remember when I was coming into a new role, right? Like there is so much to learn and there are so many things to explore. So having somebody be there kind of like guiding and helping through the career paths, it's really a great feeling.
Right.
And thank you. I'm really looking forward. I wish to be part of it. So
Absolutely.
raising hand here. And now I know we touched on the Customer XCon, my very favorite customer marketing conference. And there was a big philanthropic part the last year. So I really would love to talk a little bit about that. You already mentioned why you do what you do. It brings that warm feeling. Doing good just feels good. And if you do it genuinely, then I think it just like spreads, right? The goodness just like multiplies and people have these big smiles. So can you share a little bit about the experience from last year?
Oh, sure. Yeah, and let me just add too that I never intended to be putting on a conference. That was never really a goal in my life.
Yes, thank you. I
So,
love your story about the conference. So how did it all start? I think that's a great starting point.
yeah. So I'm an accidental conference producer, but we also at the same time that that the community was coming together, and these group therapies were just really appealing to people and really valuable. And some of the alumni, because these group therapy sessions, we would get 3 or 4 people. We would pick a big hairy topic that everybody struggles with and get 3 or 4 people that have dealt with that topic, even if they haven't mastered it, right? As long as they've tried to tackle it and made some progress and had some experiences to share. And we would just share our experiences, and people would ask each other questions. Excuse me. And so people would ask each other questions, and then we would and so some of the alumni, people that had been up on the panels, said, why don't we pull the alumni together and do an event? And I'm thinking, okay, well, and then they're saying we should do it in person. And at the same time, one of the other conferences, the Summit on Customer Engagement, had been winding down, and Bill Lee, the producer of that, had decided not to continue doing that. So there was really no community-led conference out there. So we decided to create this but we also wanted to make it very different than other conferences. So one thing that's very different about it is that it is community-led in that the content, the format, the structure is all created by a steering committee of senior level practitioners. So it's not pay for play where, you know, the producer picks the topics and picks the presenters and charges them and things like that. And so, but another element that we were able to add is that we wanted to have this philanthropic component to it. And so last year, as we were looking for venues, I had been to a conference before at this venue that is attached and owned by a nonprofit organization in the city of Boston, Massachusetts, called Artists for Humanity. And so Artists for Humanity is, as I said, they're a nonprofit organization that provides training and education to the teenagers, the underserved teenagers of Boston neighborhoods, to teach them the different forms of art, whether it's digital art, creative art, original art, could be painting, it could be sketching, could be graphic design, it could be making big signs or billboards, could be video production. And so all forms of art, and they in effect operate as a digital agency for serving the city of Boston, as well as some companies that want to take advantage of the unique model that they have. And so their facility was fantastic. And so what we did is we said, we're going to have the conference in their facility. They have this big meeting room that was big enough for 200 people to hold a conference. And not only that, but we said, let's bring the organizer down during one of our lunches and have him talk about the mission of the organization and what they do and how the day in the life of their program. And then the part I was thrilled to partner with Wings for You, with you, Maria, on was the part where we actually purchased 6 paintings that the youth of the city had painted and that represented the theme. Our theme was about heroes and making heroes every day. And so obviously it was about making the world a better place. So we found 6 amazing paintings that embodied that spirit of making the world a better place, but in different ways. And so different interpretations of the paintings. And we had them on display there. We had the curator of their studio come and talk to us at lunch. And she actually helped, because we raffled them off. We allowed people to say, oh, well, I'm interested in winning that painting. And so people could bid on the different paintings they wanted or put in their tickets. And so we raffled them off, and she conducted the raffle. And so it was, and if you remember, one of the winners, Tina West, was probably the most emphatically blown away by winning this, because she has a whole art collection from her own experiences doing service work in Africa. And this was a painting of a woman from Africa, and very unique painting, very personal painting, and it just struck her in the most unusual way, and she was just floored.
Yeah, it was a lot of joy. It was a lot of fun, a lot of joy. I really love that.
And I'm curious, tell us what your experience was and how you felt when you were seeing the painting, seeing people's reaction to it, because I know you get pretty choked up too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the idea of the venue, right? Like the venue, like hosting a conference in an art gallery. This is how it felt to me. It was just amazing. So we were able to witness the amazing works of such a talented people, that the whole space was already very different than from a classical business venues. So I really love that part. I love the part that Artists for Humanity is serving underprivileged youth, and they're teaching them skill sets so they can be really successful in their lives. So that is really touching my heart. So like being able to be supporting their part of the stories, giving them wings. I like to say expecting miracles, that the world be a better place. So supporting organizations which are doing something amazing, it's always makes my heart sing. And yeah. And I think we had so much fun talking about it, preparing for it, being there, seeing the happiness when taking the paintings home, but also supporting the larger cause. That was my thing, like really making sure that we do create awareness around Artists for Humanity. And who knows, like maybe it was a business, custom marketing business community. So maybe some people will remember and they will use them and give them job opportunities for mini campaigns or big campaigns. Like we never know. It was a conference big enough that we could leave a mark and then let the people decide. So I like that. Right. Great. Jeff, and SlapFive is customer marketing software platform, but I know that you're doing also other amazing things, that you do give away free licenses to NGOs from time to time, or I don't know, maybe to all of them. Like, this is what I would love to understand. How do you use the technology for good?
Yes, and so we do have a program, because what we realized is that if you think about how important it is for a corporation to be capturing the voice of its customers and using that voice to really help be its best sales and marketing arm, to really showcase the success and impact that their solution is having on their customers. Well, now you relay that to the nonprofit world. And you could say it's even more important for nonprofits to be showcasing the impact that they're making. And so just take, for example, the different stakeholders in the nonprofit world that need to understand what that nonprofit is all about. And so I'll give you an example. Let's say it's an organization that like the Artists for Humanity, right? That's serving students, but also getting corporations to do business with it, and then bringing in sponsorships through donations. So their stakeholders are the big nonprofit foundations in the city of Boston and the organizations that are donating money to operate it. So they want to know the impact. So the more you can capture the impact that you're making on video, audio, things like that, and showcase it, the more you're going to raise funds. Then also in that particular model, there was the businesses that are doing, they're doing business with this firm. They're hiring their staff to do projects for them. So they need to be convinced that, hey, even though these are youth in Boston, we still have adults and professionals, and the work that you're going to get is at the same level of quality as a professional digital agency. And so they need to hear the customer proof. And then they want to attract more students and more youth into the program. So they want to capture the views of the youth so that they can attract more youth, so that they can see the value of being in the program, as well as the donors to be able to see the impact, hear that firsthand stories. So it's just such a perfect model for these nonprofits, that they really need to showcase the impact that they're making.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeff, for being such a role model, and thank you for having this program in place.
And if you want, I can actually show you an example of one organization we worked with just recently on that. Let me see if I can share my screen. Oh, I think in order for me to do that, you'll allow me to share screen or make me a co-host. But while you're doing that, so one of the organizations that we worked with is the Bob Woodruff Foundation, and they are led by a gentleman named Bob Woodruff, who was a news correspondent for ABC News, and he was injured in Afghanistan doing coverage on the ground there, and realized how much amazing medical care he received, which is very different than what our military veterans in the United States often receive when they come home from battle. And so he created a foundation to really help on all sorts, whether it's help with PTSD, help with medical care, help with job placement, job training for the people in that, So just to show you an example here, this is, one of the things that we help them with is, we went to their event in December in New York City, where they had a whole bunch of the military veterans and their families in this recognition of the amazing work that they've done. And so we captured the voice of the people in attendance, asking them questions like, who or what inspired you to join the military? It got some amazing results. Some of these people was right after 9/11. They realized they had to do something. Keep going. There's other questions like, what did you do in the military, and what was the most amazing or gratifying experience you had in the military? So this really helps the Bob Woodruff Foundation really capture the voice of the people who they are serving. And they, in fact, then rely on corporate donations. They rely on corporations to join their employer program where they're hiring these military veterans. So this is just a perfect example of all the different stakeholders being able to see the impact of a foundation and the amazing work that it does for firsthand from the people that benefit the most.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for sharing. Very impressive. Thank you so much.
Oh,
And I have just the very last question.
Sure.
This podcast is called Expecting Miracles. So I would like to ask you, what miracles would you like to see happen within the customer marketing world?
What miracles would I like to see happen? So the easy one, an obvious one, I should say, and maybe it's not a miracle, but it is a very big aspiration. It's very aspirational, and sometimes I feel like it's going to take a miracle, but I think it does tie back to the actual mission of the community. Is I do, if I could wave my magic wand and create a miracle, it would be to, in this space of customer marketing, it would be to make every customer marketer realize. So that would be one, is make every customer marketer realize the potential that they can have on their company by taking a more proactive, strategic approach to their work and aligning with the C-level executives and their initiatives. But at the same time, the flip side of that miracle would be if I could get every C-level executive of every company out there. I tend to work more with B2B companies, but if every company could realize the power and potential that their customers have to help drive deeper adoption, usage, retention, renewal, as well as new customer acquisition. I mean, and if they could just truly appreciate all the different ways that customers can play a role in that and how much customers want to play a role in that, I think that would be a miracle. And it would totally transform this industry if that could happen. Because as you know, I mean, there's too many C-level executives when they think about customer marketing, customer advocacy, they tend to just think of referrals and
case studies.
Maybe the case studies, case studies and referrals. So those are the things they tend to be aware of, and they don't tend to appreciate that there's way more potential than that. So that would be sort of my business-minded miracle if I could create it. It would be an amazing place. And the thing that so many people, like especially these executives, don't realize is that if they're a decent company and they deliver a decent customer experience, their customers want to engage, right?
Yeah.
There's the power of reciprocity. We're all humans, right? And so if we feel like a company has really done an amazing job making us successful as their customer, we want to turn around through the power of reciprocity and help the company, but not only just help the company, but do it in such a way that we're demonstrating our own thought leadership, we're building our own reputation within our industry or within our market. So customers want to do this. And so that's the big gap we need to fill. So that would be my miracle.
And Jeff, I have to say, like, you and SlapFive, like, have been filling this gap with others. No, you're not the only one, but slowly I feel it's happening. So thank you so much for being on the front. Thank you so much for being such an amazing leader. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And I'm honored that you felt like, well, the work that I'm doing is worthy of your program here. So thank you for inviting me.
100%. Thank you.